Yes.
I really like your teaching because the way you teach us with the real life examples. So that is the most important thing when we can relate the things with real life. So that is my very like initially because I'm not from the philosophy background. In the philosophy, if you
Mhm,
like, you always taught us in a way that we can connect it with the real life. So that is
mhm.
my good experience with you. So I really like you and your teaching also, ma'am. And I really want to pursue the same thing with you in my later in my life.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. But I hope we can all stay in touch and somehow connect again. Okay, so if none of you have any more suggestions, okay, suggestions where I
I
can,
also feel the same, ma'am.
okay, where I can improve the class, right? All right, thank you, rest of you. Okay, so let me just start. I have a few things to share today, right? Today being the last class of the 3-month online course on Nalanda Buddhist philosophy. Since we finished with tenet system, it took a really long time, almost 22 lectures, right, to finish the 4 schools of Buddhism. Okay, so today on the last day, I picked up a few stanzas from the sutras and the shastras. The sutras are the words of the Buddha, and shastras are the commentary, right? So the commentaries based on the teachings of the Buddha and of the uh, teachers like Arya Nagarjuna. So those are mostly commentaries. Okay, so I'd like to share the screen. Okay, so do you all see the stanzas on the screen? Okay, so we are going to do this until 4 o'clock. And 4 o'clock, as I mentioned in the group, WhatsApp group, that two of the faculty members would like to join us for a short valedictory session. So 4 o'clock, we'll be expecting them. Okay, so for the time being, for the next, let's say 45 minutes, uh, let me share these excerpts from these sutras. So this, the first one that you see on the screen, Aryadeva's 400 verses on the middle way. So now when you read these terms, I'm sure you will find, uh, okay, so when you read the term middle way, I'm sure now you'll immediately understand what it means. Okay, is there anybody who can tell me what is middle way? So when you read,
Reject, reject both the extreme.
no, no. So Aryadeva's 400 verses on the middle way. What do you understand? Okay, rejecting two extremes is the middle way. That's very true. But when you, of the 4 schools, of the 4 tenet schools,
Madhyamika.
yes, Madhyamika view, the middle way school, right? So these, okay, so Aryadeva is the student of Arya Nagarjuna, the immediate disciple of Arya Nagarjuna, who wrote a commentary of 400 verses on the Madhyamika philosophy taught by Arya Nagarjuna. So in Sanskrit, it's called Chatusaka Shastra Namakarika, right? Jigyapa. Jigyapa is in Tibetan. Okay, so it says those with less merit. Okay, now do you all remember the 2 paths, merit and wisdom? Remember basis, path, and result? Now we have to bring in everything that we learned and try to see what are those terms. How do you apply? How do you understand these stanzas? So those with less merit. So less merit means merit is the accumulation of merit, which is one of the 2 paths, merit and wisdom, accumulation of merit through generosity, through ethical discipline, and through practice of patience, right? So these are all accumulation of merit. So those with less merit means those who haven't done these accumulation of these merits will not even have a doubt in this dharma of ultimate reality. So dharma of ultimate reality means, anybody? Okay, anybody? Ultimate reality, what does it actually mean? Okay, now this is a commentary on the middle way school, which is the Madhyamika school. Okay, is there anyone who can tell me in this, when it says those with less merit will not even have a doubt in this dharma of ultimate reality, what do you understand by ultimate reality?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, yes, please.
Ultimately, nothing is existed objectively or independently.
Okay, so ultimate reality here, it means the emptiness of objective existence, which is the wisdom of emptiness.
Yes.
Okay, so dharma means more like the wisdom of emptiness. So those with less merit will not even have a doubt in this dharma of ultimate reality, in this wisdom of emptiness. Should an inquiry ever arise in someone, it will shatter samsara into pieces. So what did Aryadeva, what is he trying to say is, to understand the ultimate reality, we have to have merit. We have to engage in the accumulation of generosity, ethical discipline, patience, wisdom, all these. Okay, so these I've shared with you in the slide, in one of the slides, the 10 perfections. So these are all accumulation of merit. So only when you have acquired this merit, you can have, then there will be a doubt that arises in the wisdom of emptiness. When you say nothing exists objectively, right? So then these kind of doubts, for that you need a lot of merit. And if a doubt ever arises in someone, let's say, okay, not just the normal doubts that we have, right? A real, like, very strong doubt, does it really exist? And somebody is really very curious to know that how, okay, what is the self? What am I? What is this I? So if this doubt really arises in somebody, it says it will shatter samsara into pieces, means suffering will be completely gotten rid of if that doubt genuinely arises in someone. So this is what Aryadeva mentioned in his 400 verses. Okay, and the next stanza is Acharya Chandrakirti's entry into the middle way. Okay, now is there anyone who remembers Acharya Chandrakirti's entry into the middle way? Which text did I did mention about this text many times. Okay, it's already there if you all can see.
Madhyamika Avatara.
Madhyamika Avatara, it's a commentary on. It's a commentary on, anybody?
Mula Madhyamika.
Mool.
Mula Madhyamika Karika, very nice. Arya Nagarjuna's Mula Madhyamika Karika. So Acharya Chandrakirti, one of the propounders, one believed to be one of the propounders, or by some it's believed to be the propounder of the Prasangika view, right? So there in that text, Madhyamika Avatara, it says, even as an ordinary being. Now again, ordinary being versus Buddhas, yeah. So now we have to remember, these are very strict terminologies. Ordinary beings, even as an ordinary being. Ordinary being means those beings who have self-grasping ignorance, right? Even as an ordinary being, when hearing about emptiness, if one experiences within utter joy again and again, tears flowing from such pure joy moistens one's eyes, and one's hair stands on end. One has the seed of the wisdom of full awakening. So this is said by Acharya Chandrakirti, who is believed to be a highly realized Nalanda saint scholar. right? So he's saying that even as an ordinary being, even as somebody who has the self-grasping ignorance, hears about emptiness, and then there's a certain joy that arises in the person. And then sometimes there are people after hearing about emptiness, they start to have tears, and then they have goosebumps. So if such experiences are felt, then that's a sign of having the seed of the wisdom of full awakening. That shows a lot of the person has acquired a lot of merit. These are signs, basically physical signs. So this is said by Acharya Chandrakirti in his commentary on Mula Madhyamika Karika, right? And then the third verse, Upali requested sutra. Sutra is again the words of the Buddha. It's an extract. Okay, so that's a very long term in Sanskrit. Madhuji, if you can read it. Upali Pari Rachinama Mahayana Sutra. Okay. All right. Madhuji, can you just read that and let's hear what is the exact. Okay, Madhuji is not audible. All right. Anyway, so it says the various delightful flowers blossom. Okay, so these stanzas are very beautiful. We will try to reflect on these stanzas. The various delightful flowers blossom, right? And the sparkling supreme abode, golden abode stand so alluring. For none of these is there a creator. They are posited by the power of thought. It is through conceptualization that the world is imputed. So now this is again talking about appearance and mental imputation, right? If you all remember. So what appears is a very delightful, the flowers, very delightful flowers blossoming. If you have been to a garden with so many beautiful flowers, I'm sure many of us has been to a beautiful garden, right? So that appearance, just by looking at it, you have this feeling, okay, so beautiful, right? That feeling arises. And the sparkling golden, supreme golden abode stand so alluring. For none of these is there a creator. They are posited by the power of thought. It is through the conceptualization that the world is imputed. Okay, so of course, creator in the sense, okay, one time I had an experience. I was with my friends, friends as in my classmates who come to Tibet House classes. So I think we were at one of the 5-star hotels in Delhi for a conference, right? It was a huge conference. So so the hotel was really huge, clean, all kinds of uh, attractive food on the table, beautiful flowers around, right? So one of my classmates, he's an exceptionally intelligent person. He told me, he just gave me a shrug and he said, Nilda, you remember that stanza from the text, the Upali requested sutra. He said, the various delightful flowers blossom and the sparkling golden, supreme golden abode stands so alluring, right? We were just admiring the place and the food and the flowers around. And then he said, there's no creator. They're posited by the power of thought. So these are all our mental imputation. We look at them as something so delightful, beautiful, as though they're beautiful from its own side, right? So it is through conceptualization of the world that the world is imputed. So everything that we see around. So that is what he reminded me, when we were just admiring our surrounding. It was so beautiful. So basically, when you read these excerpts, stanzas, we have to bring in whatever we learned into our experience, right? So only then we can have a change in our perception. Otherwise, we can just study and sit for exam. That's it. So these teachings, if we can apply them in our daily lives and really see whether this beautiful, delightful appearance, is it really coming from its own side, or is it our mental imputation, right? So these are all for reflections, basically. Okay, then the third one is Bhikkhuni Vajira's utterance in the Fundamental Vehicle Sutra. So wherever you see sutra, it's automatically understood as Buddha's words. Okay, so now again here it says, the mind is demonic, which views a true self. Demonic doesn't mean a real demon, but the mind, we have two poisons. Our mind has two poisons, the self-grasping ignorance and the self-centered attitude. They're like the two demons always trying to cheat us, right? So the mind is demonic, which views a true self. True self means objectively existent, truly existent self. We always see the self to be truly existent. And it says you have a wrong view. This is a deception. This is a deceptive consciousness. If you remember what we studied in Buddhist psychology, you have a wrong view means it's a deception. These compositional aggregates are empty. Okay, now what are the 5 aggregates? Okay, is there anyone who can tell me quickly what are the 5 aggregates?
Form, feeling, discrimination, composite factors, and consciousness.
Compositional factors and consciousness. Very nice. Okay, so these should be on your fingertips, right? Okay, so these compositional aggregates, these 5 aggregates are empty. There is no being in them. Okay, if you look for the self, for the I in these 5 aggregates, you will not find the I. This is what it means. So just as one designates a cart in dependence upon a collection of parts. Okay, so have you all seen a cart, the bullock cart, right? So when you see a bullock cart, so you call it a cart, you designate it as a cart, depending on the collection of parts, depending on the wheel, the front, I don't know, what do you call it? The seat in the front where the person sits, the 2 wheels, right? And then the thing that connects it to the ox or the animal, which is pulling the cart, right? So it depends upon the collection of parts. Only when you bring all the parts together, then you name it a cart, right? So just as one designates a cart in dependence upon a collection of parts. So this I is also just a designation, I. It's just a name. Remember, according to Prasangika view, a person is a mere label, just a mere label. So this is just a designation, mere designation, I. It's dependent upon the collection of these 5 aggregates. This is what it means. Just as one designates a cart in dependence upon a collection of parts, so we assert a conventional sentient being in dependence upon the aggregates, right? So the whole and parts, if you remember. So the self is as a whole is just a mere designation which is dependent upon the parts. Okay. Okay, if you have any questions, please do stop me in between. Okay. And the next is Venerable Shavara's writings. Okay, Venerable Shavara, I think he is the teacher of Arya Nagarjuna, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, sorry, that's Saint Saraha. I'm confused. Or the next one, the one below, Saint Saraha is the teacher of Arya Nagarjuna. So Venerable Shavara's writing excerpts. Okay, now searching for reality throughout space. So these are very profound stanzas. Okay, so if you try to pay attention to the words, there's a very in-depth meaning to it. Searching for reality throughout space, one finds not the periphery nor the center. All perception cease completely. Likewise, through a thorough search of mind and phenomena, one finds not even an atom of essence. Since the searching mind is not found, not seeing anything is seeing the reality. This is very profound. This is a very profound stanza. So basically, the last line, which says, not seeing anything is seeing the reality. It means, okay, now if I ask you all the question, in the ultimate domain, through the ultimate analysis, when you're doing the ultimate analysis, you're in the ultimate domain. What do you ultimately find? Yes? Okay, I'll repeat. While doing the ultimate analysis, okay, for example, the flower, let's say the flower, there's a flower. You ask, where is this flower? You have the flower in front of you and you still ask, where is this flower? That means you are crossing the border of convention, right? And you want to further find, where is this flower? So you go into the ultimate analysis. The moment you step into the ultimate analysis, you are in the ultimate domain and you keep looking for the flower. Okay, is the petal the flower? It's the leaf the flower? Is the stem the flower? You keep searching. Ultimately, what do you find in the ultimate domain? Anybody? According to the Prasangika view, let me ask, according to Prasangika view, what do you ultimately find?
Nothing.
Yes?
And ultimately, we find nothing.
Right. Thanks. Thank you. So ultimately, you don't find anything. According to the Prasangika view, there's nothing to be found ultimately, right? So this is exactly what is said in the last line. Not seeing anything is seeing the reality. Which reality? The ultimate reality, which is the emptiness of objective existence, right? So this is what it means. You look for it everywhere. You look for the self, you look for the phenomena other than self, you look everywhere. Ultimately, you don't find anything. This is what it means. This is talking about the ultimate reality, emptiness of objective existence. And then the next stanza, Saint Saraha, the teacher of Arya Nagarjuna, his writing, it says, by entering into emptiness, but devoid of compassion. Okay, now if you all remember, I had mentioned many times, in Madhyamika Avatara text by Acharya Chandrakirti, he has said that compassion, the bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness, they are like the two wings of a bird. If you want to fly away from samsara, fly out of samsara, you need the two wings intact, right? So the compassion, which is more like the bodhicitta, the practice of bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness. These two have to go together to really get out of samsara. So it says, Saint Saraha said, by entering into emptiness, but devoid of compassion, one will not find the supreme path. Supreme path means the highest, ultimate path. By meditating upon compassion alone, one will not attain liberation from suffering, but remain in samsara. The one capable of grasping the unity of the two, the compassion, the bodhicitta, and the wisdom, will not remain in samsara nor abide in personal nirvana. Personal nirvana is the goal of the Shravakas and the Pratyeka Buddhas. That is what it means, self-liberation, right? So one needs to have the practice of bodhicitta as well as the wisdom of emptiness, hand in hand, the unity of two. Okay, the king of concentration sutra. This is again Samadhi Raja Sutra. It says, so this is a very beautiful analogy to apply in our daily lives. Just as in the dream of a young girl, she met with the boy and saw his death, right? Joyous was she at the meeting and in anguish at his death. View all phenomena as thus. So this is also a very profound stanza, which is saying that in a dream, right? In a dream, a girl met with a boy, and in the dream, the boy died, right? In fact, just yesterday, I saw the story of a friend, not a friend, a friend's friend in Instagram. This is exactly what I felt when I saw their story on Instagram. So this boy is doing really well in life. I think, he's one of the commanding, what's it called? He's a Air Force pilot, an officer, and living a very good life, right? And just recently proposed his girlfriend, and they got married, in fact, a few months ago, and seemed like a very happy couple, right? And just few, I think, a couple of weeks back, his very unfortunately, his plane crashed into the ocean, and looks like they couldn't find his body, right? And I was just feeling what the girl must be going through, because she was expressing so much joy upon being proposed for the marriage, right? And I'm sure they got married, and just, I think, just not even half a year passed, the boy's gone. Very young couple, very beautiful couple, right? So this is exactly what this stanza means, right? Just as in the dream of a young girl, she met with the boy and saw his death. I was just imagining what she was going through. She is going through right now, right? So joyous was she at the meeting and in anguish at his death. So basically, Buddha is saying, view all these phenomena, as thus, just like in the dream. You're so happy, extremely happy, and then when somebody dies, you're extremely sad. But when you're out of that dream, when you wake up from that long sleep, right, you realize that, okay, that happiness and that pain, none of it is real. So this is exactly what Buddha is trying to say. And I think it's we all are going to go through, we all go through this, right? Okay. And the next stanza, it says Arya Nagarjuna's fundamental wisdom of the middle way, which is Mula Madhyamika Karika. This we have studied in depth many times. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions lead to nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thoughts. These arise from mental elaborations, grasping at true existence. Elaborations cease by or into emptiness. Do you all remember this stanza? Yes? Okay, can anyone tell me what are the 5 points that we picked up from this stanza, which are related to each other causally? Yes?
May I say?
Yes, Navid.
I'm at the root of the tree is the self-grasping ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Then it leads to inappropriate attention,
Mm-hmm.
which leads to uh, afflictions.
Mm-hmm.
These afflictions lead to contaminated karma,
Very nice.
and
Yes.
the fruit of the tree is the suffering.
Okay, then you're in the suffer. Then you suffer because of the contaminated karmas. Very nice. So these 5 points, we must have them on our fingertips, right? Self-grasping ignorance, which is like the root of the tree, very strong roots that holds the tree, very huge tree, right? So the root of the tree is is like the self-grasping ignorance, which gives rise to inappropriate attention. Inappropriate attention is nothing but when you exaggerate the qualities of the um, object that you interact with, right? So after inappropriate attention, what happens? Because of this unrealistic, what do you say, characteristics that you give to the object, then afflictions arise in you or us. Afflictions arise in us. That gives rise to contaminated karmas. Because of afflictions, we perform contaminated karmas. Karmas can be done in 3 ways, right? Mental karma, verbal karma, and physical karma. So in these 3 ways, we can perform negative karmas. And these karmas, contaminated karmas, will bind us in samsara. So this is what it means. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions lead to nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thoughts. These arise from mental elaborations grasping at true existence. Elaborations cease by or into emptiness. Okay. Okay, so these following stanzas I'll quickly read. These are all from Mula Madhyamika Karika. I won't explain because it will take some time. Okay, neither the aggregates nor different from the aggregates. The aggregates do not depend on him or her, nor is he or her dependent on them. Them means the aggregates. The Tathagata, Tathagat is the Buddha. The Buddha does not possess the aggregates, or in place of Buddha, you can put your own name, or he or she does not possess the aggregate, the self. Basically, it means to say the self does not possess the aggregate. What is the Tathagata? What is the self? Or what is I? So this is basically this is basically a meditation or just inquiry into finding the ultimate analysis of the self. Okay, that which, this is again a very important stanza. That which dependently originates is posited to be empty of independent existence. That being dependently designated, this is the middle way. Okay, now here, whatever is dependently originated, it's said to be empty of objective existence. And that being dependently designated, this is the middle way, right? So if you remember from Heart Sutra, we picked up that stanza, the form is empty, emptiness is form. So form is basically dependent origination, right? Anything that you see around is dependently originated, like this pen. This pen is also dependently originated. At the same time, this pen is empty of objective existence. So whatever is dependently originated is said to be empty of independent existence. And what is dependently designated, this is the middle way. The designation, the mere I, the mere label, that is the middle way. Middle way. Okay, so these are all the prasangika views we must keep in mind, whatever we are doing right now. Okay, since there is no phenomenon that is not dependently originated, there is no phenomenon that is not empty, right? This is very, this is the same as saying form is empty, emptiness is form, right? Okay, again, Arya Nagarjuna's Precious Garland. This is another text by Arya Nagarjuna. It's called Ratnavali, Rinchen Tengwa. If the person is not earth, not water, not fire, not air, not space, not also consciousness, and not all of them, where is the person out of those? Okay, if you all remember, we once did just a rough, when you meditate on whether you, okay, we are made up of these 6 elements, the earth element, the fire element, air element, space element, water element, and the mental consciousness, the consciousness. So if the person is not the earth, if the person is not the earth element, the person is not the water element, you keep removing. Finally, where is the person out of those? So this is again a meditation on the emptiness of the self. So these are all very important standards to reflect on. Okay, just as the person is not truly existent because of being an aggregation of the 6 elements. So because we are nothing but coming together of these 6 elements, then we are given a label, self, right? So this person is not truly existent because we are the aggregation of the 6 elements. Each element is also not truly existent as they are aggregations of their own constituents. So if you are earth element, even that earth element is not truly existent because that earth element also is made of parts. You can, it's an aggregation of its own constituents or own parts. So when you go into the parts of the earth element, then even the earth element, you will find the emptiness of that earth objectively existent earth element. So likewise, you can keep going segregating and you won't find anything ultimately. Okay, now this stanza is really beautiful. It says, okay, so this is Dharma Samgiti Sutra. Form is like a mass of foam. Have you all seen foam? Feeling is like a water bubble, right? Perception is like a mirage. Mental formations are like plantain trees. Consciousness is like an illusion. So taught Surya Mitra. So this is a very beautiful way to, because we are always taken by all these perceptions, form, feeling. Feeling is also again something we are consumed by feelings, perceptions. So these are all like foam, bubble, mirage, plantain trees, illusion. So these are all examples to reflect on. Okay. All right, so now I'll stop the screen sharing. Okay, so now I'll just, okay, any questions from what we just did? We have about 13 minutes left. So I'm just going to share. Okay, Yesh is here. How are you feeling, Yesh?
Good afternoon, Gila.
Oh, have
Good
you
afternoon,
recovered?
everyone.
Good afternoon.
Not exactly, Gila. I mean, the surgery was successful, but there is some infection on the wound, so I'm taking some medicines for that.
Oh,
I mean, I
take
don't know.
care
It's
and
maybe.
hope you
Yeah.
recover soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank
good
you.
to see you.
Same here, Gila. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just share. Okay, so just basic points on what are the points we need to keep in mind when one is meditating. It can be any kind of meditation, right? There are so many different kinds of meditation in this world. And I'm not sharing this as somebody who meditates, but just something I learned from my teacher, right? Just the basic points. Okay, so there are 4 points that one needs to remember when you're meditating. In fact, these are very important for people who, okay, so let's talk about breathing meditation. There are 2 kinds of meditation, right? Single pointed meditation and analytical meditation. So single pointed meditation is where you focus your mind on one object. There's only one focal point, right? And analytical meditation is your objects keep changing. I think I've mentioned this earlier as well. So here, let's focus on the single pointed meditation. Single pointed meditation, there are lots of benefits of doing single pointed meditation, right? Especially when our minds are scattering a lot and one feels agitated, we can just sit in meditation and focus on our breath. This will help us calm down, right? Okay, so there are 4 points to remember. You may note it down. Okay, those of you who follow Geshe Dorje Damrulla's class, you will know these points. Okay, so there are 4 points to remember. One is the posture, the body posture. First, the body posture. I'll explain what are the things to remember in the body posture. Second is the focal point. Third is identifying the errors of meditation, the 2 errors of meditation. And the fourth is applying the 2 remedies to combat these 2 errors, or 2 antidotes to these errors. So there are 4 points: the posture, the body posture, the focal point, identifying the 2 errors of meditation, and applying the 2 remedies or antidotes to these two errors. Okay, so what do you mean by posture? Okay, so if you are all sitting in your rooms or maybe on a cushion, wherever you are. Okay, so in posture, the first thing is we must have our backbone upright, right? So when you sit in meditation, we have to have our backbone straight, not leaning on a chair or the wall. We have to be away from the wall or the chair. No support system, just, but not, and the shoulders straight, right? It's said that having our backbone straight, how does it help in the meditation is because the blood, which is pumped to the brain through the spinal cord, right? There's a free flow of the blood circulation, which is why it helps us in maintaining a very wakeful or attentive state. So our backbones have to be straight. Our shoulders have to be straight, but not stiff. Our body should not be stiff, right? First, and then our legs, the two legs, one on each other, the left on the right. I'm sure you must have seen the posture of the Buddhas. There are so many statues of Buddhas everywhere. So either it's said that if you have some leg pain or knee pain, some people have knee pain. These are not, okay, so this is not a very strict instruction. One need not sit in that strict position. There's no strict hard and fast rule. Basically, you have to be comfortable so that your mind can concentrate on the focal point. So the legs crossed and the hands, the right hand on the left hand like this, right? Like this, and the tips of the two thumbs gently touching each other and in a raised position like this, resting on your legs, right? And okay, these are related to the body. And then your tongue. So what happens when somebody is meditating for hours? What happens is there's the saliva is formed in the mouth, right? And then it disturbs your meditation. So to avoid that, we are advised to the tongue should touch the upper palate of the mouth, the upper palate, so that it stops from the formation of the saliva in the mouth, right? The tongue should touch the upper palate. And the eyes, okay, so this is a very important point. Eyes should not be closed. Eyes should always be half open, cast down at 45-degree angle, right? So this is like the 90-degree. So 45-degree angle, you can cast down your eyes, half open. So why is eyes should be open? One reason behind this is we are trying to separate our eye sense consciousness and the mental consciousness. The mental consciousness and the eye sense consciousness, we are trying to separate these two. I'll explain how, right? Okay, so these are the main points related to the posture. The second is the focal point. So focal point is this, okay, do you all see this gap between just below your nose and above your upper lips, this depression here. So this point, you can focus your mind. So your mental consciousness, though your eyes are half open, cast down at 45-degree angle, your mind should be here. Your focus, your mental focus should be here. This is the focal point, right? Okay, so what you're doing is when you're meditating and your mind is focused on this focal point, this is called the focal point, right? So what happens, whatever you have to separate what your eye consciousness is seeing. Let's say I have my pen in front of my eyes. So I see my pen. So instead of seeing your pen, your concentration has to be on this focal point. So you have to separate your eye sense consciousness and the mental consciousness. Your mental consciousness is looking at the focal point, right? So this is what we need to do. And what are the two errors of meditation? Okay, so the two errors of meditation, one is mental scattering, and mental laxity. Mental scattering or mental excitement. Second is mental laxity. Mental scattering is when your mind is going here and there. When your mind is not on the focal point, it's just going everywhere, right? And mental laxity is when your mind is very laxed, meaning it's going off to sleep. You're going off to sleep, very dull, right? So that is mental laxity. So these are the two errors of meditation. And what are the two remedies? The last point, the two remedies to avoid these two errors is introspection. One is introspection. Second is mindfulness. So introspection is you try to introspect whether your mind is really on the focal point or not. And the minute you find that your mind is gone somewhere, let's say your mind is in the supermarket, then you bring back your mind. Mindfulness means bringing back your mind back to the focal point, right? So introspection, you introspect whether your mind is really on the focal point. And if you don't find your mind on the focal point, you bring it back. That is mindfulness. So these are the 4 points related to single pointed meditation. So you can apply the same for analytical meditation. The only difference is in analytical meditation, your focal point will keep changing, right? So if in analytical meditation, you're meditating on the impermanence of the, let's say, the impermanence of the self. So you sit in meditation and think about how you were when you were, let's say, 10 days old. And then think about how you were when you were 10 years old, then 20 years old, or 30 years old. You know, then you just see the impermanence of I, the self. So likewise, we can apply on many things. Okay. So any questions? Because it's almost 4 o'clock and I am expecting 2 faculty members from CIBS to join us.
Ma'am, the last
I had a question.
Okay, yes. Sorry, Sangamitra ji, what did you miss? Last?
really the last point
The last
of
point is
single pointed meditation. Yeah.
the last point is applying the 2 remedies, applying the 2 antidotes or remedies to the 2 errors, which is introspection and mindfulness.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes, Majid. Sorry.
It was that with regard to cause and effect. Now, I was thinking that, for example, there is some animal who has thorn in his leg.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, so like very much pain, howling. And so, for example, I remove the thorn. I also feel bad. And so the pain of the animal ceases. So this is one thing. So cause and effect. He had I removed the thorn and the pain is not felt. I am also not getting disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is another thing also with, like, for example, now maybe I did this good deed or somebody else did this good deed, and maybe they will. So are there like 2 things operating at once? Are there or is it only one?
2 things in the sense. Can you explain a little further?
Ma'am, 2 things is like one is a simple cause effect. The thorn was in the leg. The thorn has been removed. The pain is not as much.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is like thinking in it about it in terms of karma. Like I did a good karma, and maybe I will get its fruit or result.
Mhm.
So do things operate on these two levels, or is there only just one level?
Okay, so if I've understood you correctly, let me try to explain. So are you saying that, okay, there may be two scenarios, right? One is, okay, let's say person A and person B. Person A has no idea about virtue or accumulating good karma, nothing. The person has not studied anything of that. The person is just simple, like, without all these understanding of accumulation of virtue or good karma, right? And the person B has done all these extensive studies and knows that doing this intention of having this intention to help will help me get rid of. So you're saying do intention and the action. Am I correct? There's one thing which is just the action without the intention, right? So I may be passing by the road, person A may be passing by the road, sees the dog, and then, okay, the dog is suffering, let me take out the person knows that if I take out the thorn from the legs of the dog, the dog will stop suffering, not stop suffering, but the suffering will become lesser. So the person just does that and he leaves. Whereas person B, who is very compassionate, who wants to really be there for the dog, will take out the thing and then cater to the dog's needs, right? So there are two things. Are you talking about these two, or have I got you wrong? Sorry. So what do you mean by the two things
Ma'am,
going
suppose
parallel?
Ma'am, what I mean is that not two people doing two different things, but in terms of results of action.
Okay, in terms of result, what exactly?
So, ma'am, is the result of the action that like a person does this action removing the thorn, so is the result of the action the pain becoming less, or will there be like some other results of the action too, like in future maybe?
Okay, so there are, one is immediate
Ma'am,
result.
like for example,
Yes. Give me
for
another.
example, once you get example of that like that bee floating on the piece of a cow dung.
Mhm.
I'm suppose that was a turtle the bee was like floating on at that time.
On a turtle.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
And ma'am, just it sat on the turtle at the time of the flood, and like uh, the life of the bee got saved. But like in your you said that it also has a karmic result which maybe come in very later time.
Mhm. Okay, so there are, one is the immediate result, right? So karma, okay, so
Yes, ma'am. So that is.
okay, now your question is, now I understand. Your question is on karma, right? The results of your karma, basically karma action.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you perform, there are different
Yes, ma'am.
kinds of karma, right? To understand karma, you have to understand the various types. So there is one karma, the result of which you see in this very life. And there are another types of karma which the result of which you see in next life, the immediate next life. And there are other karmas where the action, the results you will see in many later lives. So there are different kinds of karma, but this karma, whether it will ripen in this life or next life or many lives after, this only Buddha can see. Remember the subtle workings of the karma. This is one thing which only Buddha sees, not even the Arya beings.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Okay, but we have to, one thing I must mention, we have to be very practical, right? We have to be very practical. Wherever you see something, if you are very confident, if you have, what do you call it in the modern language? We call it calculated risk, right? So if you're very, people who are really smart, especially I think in today's times, there's something called decision making. Decision making is a completely different line of discipline now, because decision making has become a very important skill to apply in the modern world. So somebody who's very good at decision making, they are very good at taking calculated risks. They're so basically remember the two functions of the mind, cognitive and affective function. So this is the cognitive function of the mind. When you're in a situation, right? Okay, let's say there's a fire and you're in that house or building. Okay, so the situation is very desperate. And what is the easiest, what is the quickest way to help the most number of beings who are caught up in fire? So there one has to have a very strong cognitive function of the mind training, right? So also along with compassion, we also must have very skilled compassion. So together you can be such great decision makers. So all these studies, when you know how the mind works, when you know the reality of the things around or phenomena around, we can really understand, and of course, bodhicitta, how to give benefit to others. So all these together, combined together, we can benefit in the most best way. So wherever possible, be very practical. It's called the skilled compassion. Remember, I gave an example where okay, so you want to help the beggar. I gave the example of the streets in Delhi where there are lots of beggars on the streets, and there is a whole racket running behind, right? So there's a whole racket. These kids are purposefully like sent on the streets to beg so that the person sitting behind will extract all that money. So if you are practicing compassion, if you really feel sorry for these kids on the streets, don't give them money, give them food, give them clothes, give them pencil and pen, So these are ways to practice skilled compassion. Some people may feel like, okay, I feel so sorry for these kids, and you just give away 100 rupees, right? And then that kid will be more in trouble because the mastermind sitting behind will think that this kid is really smart. I'm going to put him in a worse situation, like worse place. So these things happen. So these are not signs of skilled compassion. We must practice skilled compassion, right? Okay, sorry, this went too long. I think Madhuji had raised her hands. Okay, I'm just wondering what happened to the. Yes, Madhuji.
Ma'am, I had a small query, like, whatever text you have shown just now, the excerpt from the verses. So whatever we have learned, we are applying to understand the verse. Okay.
Yes.
And vice versa. But how was it originally written? Whether the verses were written first or the tenet system's explanation, what we are seeing, that was written first.
Okay, the tenets.
Yes, ma'am, because
So
we learned
these
everything
are,
in tenets.
no, these are actually the sutras which are directly spoken by the Buddha. Tenet was written later.
Yeah.
Tenet,
Sutras
sutras are Buddha's words. So Buddha gave these teachings in the form of analogy, right? Buddha did not give strict classes like Tenet class, basis, path, and result. No, Buddha didn't teach like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Buddha taught more like in terms of poetry, like Buddha actually, one way of Buddha's teaching, Buddha giving teachings is he used to walk from one village to another with his entourage.
Yes,
and wherever he sees anything on the spot, he would teach, right?
Yes.
So just like, okay, so one extract where it says that just like in the dream of a young girl, she met with a boy and saw his death. So this stanza, Buddha did not give teaching on tenet system specifically, but within that stanza, you can see the Madhyamika view or the Chittamatra view also, right? So just like in the dream, the girl, she's so happy to meet the boy, And in the
Mhm.
dream, the boy dies and
Oh.
she's extremely going through pain, right? So this is
Yes.
all happening in the dream. But when you come out of the
Mhm.
dream, neither the pain nor the pleasure, none of that exists truly, right? It's all your mental imputation. So you can
Ma'am.
relate, you can understand tenet system that way.
Right. Right. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, Madhuji. Okay, any other questions from others?
Ma'am, uh, ma'am, as Majid asked about the karma with immediate actions and delayed actions, Gita says the same thing. Actually, there are two types, different types of karmas, but mainly two types of karmas with having delayed action and immediate action. Immediate action means example of if we eat poison, immediately we will die, we must die. And if we used to have smoking, then we will die after 20 or 25 years. That is delayed action.
Thank you, Sangamitraji. That was a very beautiful example.
Yeah,
Yes, the immediate result and the long-term result.
yeah. Also the apple tree, um, if we do that now, but we will get the fruit of apple after long time. Maybe this lifetime or after some more lifetimes it will take, but delayed actions are also there.
Okay.
It is true.
So let me add one thing to it. So there are, okay, karma. Okay, so the example Majid gave, when you remove the thorn from the dog's legs, we ordinary beings, we are not, we are just ordinary beings. We are not Buddhas, right? One thing we know that if I remove the thorn, this is known by all ordinary beings. If I remove the thorn, the dog will be uh, relieved of the pain, right? We already know the result before performing the action. So these are limited cause effect relationships which are accessible to the ordinary beings, right? But doing this karma of helping this dog, there are other results, like you said. Okay, there may be other results which you will reap in maybe next life. These subtle karmas, the result of these subtle karmas, only Buddha can see. So this immediate result, ordinary human beings, because of our intelligence, we all know.
Yeah.
Now to know the subtle workings of the karma, we have to train our mind in such a manner, so as to become the Buddha, become a Buddha ourselves. And okay, so each of us have the seed of Buddhahood in us, right? So this is taught by the Buddha himself. So to really know what will be the other causes, the other results of performing a good action, the subtle karmas, we have to train. Okay, so one thing I'd like to share. Okay, so it says, though we have the eyes, without, okay, and you're sitting in a dark room, without the light, even having these eyes is of no use. You need the light to see what's in the dark room, right? So these eyes are analogous to our intelligence. We all have intelligence. Human beings especially, we are very intelligent. Even animals are intelligent, right? So this intelligence is like the eyes that we have. Even though we have the eyes, but if you're in a dark room without the light, you cannot see what's there in the room, right? So this light is analogous to the wisdom. Without the wisdom, even having intelligence is not enough to see the reality. So this is such a beautiful analogy, right? So if you think, or if I think, if all of us think that we do have ignorance, then we need the light. Even though we have the intelligence, we need the wisdom. We need the wisdom to see the reality. as it is.
This is a very beautiful thing, ma'am, you just mentioned. And I was thinking throughout this discussion about the karma that there are some wonderful stories from the Jatakas, which keeps on highlighting this aspect so many times. And right now, when you were mentioning about this illuminating a light and you need a right path and a direction to see that, I just remembered, if you know that story of the Dasyu, the dacoit Angulimala.
Yes,
And
I've
he
already
was
shared.
indoctrinated. Yes,
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 I've
yes,
shared that
yes.
story.
Exactly. So this is just such a beautiful thing. It just came back to my mind again. Very, very nicely
Okay.
put, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lopamudra ji. Okay, there's another point before I end. I'll share one thing. So this is said by our teacher. Okay, this struck me a lot. So it says that one has to be wise, right? Human beings, we are not always wise. So what happens if, let's say, okay, so Beatrice, I'll take your example. Pardon me. Right? Okay, what happens if Beatrice starts levitating 4 feet in the sky right now?
Marvelous. That would be very good.
Good for you, but for the rest of us, I'm sure there'll be like a huge line outside Beatrice's house, right? Coming to seek her blessings, coming to tell Beatrice to heal them, right? So
Just imagine that.
Yes. So what I'm trying to say is like the way we function, the ordinary people we function, this is how we function, right? But if we ask ourselves, what benefit do you get if Beatrice is levitating 4 feet? What is the benefit that you get or I get seeing somebody levitate 3 feet or 4 feet in the sky, in the air, sorry? Anybody?
Nothing, ma'am.
No benefit, right?
Yeah, no, nothing.
Okay. So yeah, so there's no benefit, but then yet this is how our world functions, right? So we have to see what benefit do you get? What benefit do you get from any teacher? Benefit in what sense? Benefit, is it making you a happier person? If it's making you a happier person, the teacher is a great teacher, right? If that benefit is more to do with your blind faith, then the teacher is not a skilled teacher, right? In like these days we have all kinds of teachers, and okay, so I don't want to mention anything bad about any one of them. This is nothing bad, but what I'm trying to say is we have to be wise, right? We have to ask ourselves, what benefit, how is this making me a happier person? Because ultimately at the end of the day we all seek happiness. Do you all agree? Even talking about afterlife, what we are going to find afterlife, this is all based on what will make us happy, right? So that is one analogy that I wanted to share. Okay, so excuse me, if you can excuse me for a few seconds, I need to make a call. I don't know, they haven't logged in. I don't know if they're having bad network, or I don't know what's the reason. Let me just give a call. In the meantime, I'll hand over to, let's say, Madhuji or Beatrice. You can please continue the discussions.
I wanted to ask if did anybody send them mail? Did they respond? about
I,
further
I
advanced studies.
no, I sent a mail, but nobody respond. No. And our teacher said she are going to speak with them, but no answer till now. No. So maybe we can ask her to continue teachings
Yes, that was what I was thinking.
from her own side, and we
Yes,
can
we
make some, yeah, or make some kind of donation or something for her so that she can
Yeah,
continue.
sure. Yeah, we should make some donations, so that's why she's also able to teach us.
Yeah.
Even I forwarded them mail, but I have not received any kind of a response.
Mm, yeah. So we can
so I
ask
will
her.
maybe 8-10 students are I think interested in doing some more advanced. So maybe we can create a group with ma'am, or
Yeah.
people can let us know like who are interested. So that way it will be more precise, like who wants to do how much they want to do, like every week, every day. Like we have to make it clear.
Mm. But first, she has to agree and say that she's
Yes, yes,
available. No, I don't know if.
yes, yes. Mm.
So we can ask before
Yes,
we
we'll.
end this
Yes, yes,
session. We can.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. We shall ask her.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry
Because
everyone.
I think.
Oh, sorry. Please continue, Majid.
And we were just talking about like what we will do now. Like there are some students who were thinking of doing some further studies also. So they have sent the mail, but they have not gotten the response or any reply yet.
Okay. So I should. Okay, actually, here we have somebody here, Sering Choldan, right? If you see, Sering Choldan. Okay, excuse me. I'm getting a call. Hello, Halekale. Okay, sorry everyone. Actually, one of the faculty members, he couldn't log in from his phone, so he's trying to do it from his computer. So we'll need some time. I'm just forwarding him the email for the login with the login details. In the meantime, you can just please carry your discussions, and then I'll get back as quick as possible. Thank you.
देख रहे हैं वो भैया कीर्तना? Is he inside the bathroom? हाँ इस तरफ। कि तू just take stand here भाई. How many people I am? I am only one person, right? Going upstairs. Then go up. हाँ కూర్చో డైరెక్ట్ ఉంది భయ్యా ఇది వస్తువులు తీసుకోండి పైన నుంచి అది డైరెక్ట్ ఉంది ఇప్పుడు నేను 3 రోజుల్లో 3 సార్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ 8 o'clock బంద్ అవుతుంది అక్కడ ఆఫ్ తీసి మళ్ళీ వేస్తే వస్తుంది అర్థమైందా అట్లా ఇప్పుడు ఇప్పుడు 8 o'clock నేను ఆన్ చేసిన నైట్ అనుకో నైట్ మొత్తం నడుస్తుంది డే మొత్తం నడుస్తుంది నెక్స్ట్ డే మళ్ళీ 24 hours తర్వాత మాకు వాటర్ అయిపోతుంది మొత్తం అయిపోయిన తర్వాత అక్కడ నుంచి మళ్ళీ ఆన్ చేస్తే అప్పుడు మోటార్ రన్ అవుతుంది అప్పుడు అవుట్లెట్ ఉంది ఇన్లెట్ ఉంది అప్పుడు నీళ్ళు వస్తుంది నీళ్ళు ఉంది 8 o'clock బంద్ నీళ్ళు బంద్ అవుతాయా ఇక్కడ బంద్ అవుతుంది ఇది బంద్ అవుతుంది మషిన్ ఖరాబ్ అయింది ఆ మషిన్ కి నీళ్ళు లేదు ఇందులో ఇప్పుడు మీరు చూస్తే మీకు తెలుస్తుంది వాటర్ లెవెల్
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I was just trying to get in touch with the other members. Okay, sorry, were you saying something about continuing the classes?
Yes, ma'am, they were saying, but they have not gotten any response.
Okay, okay, yes, I have to mention this to all of you. Right now, I think I've mentioned earlier, CIVS is going through a transitional phase, right? So, okay, so this, I should let you all know how this course came into being, right? This is not a regular course, which was done before by CIBS, because I think one reason is because of the pandemic. A lot of universities had to stick to online courses, but this 3-month certificate course is something which the present director came up with, right? So normally CIBS is an institution more focused on the Tibetan studies, Tibetan language and literature, right? So this whole institution was set up specifically just to focus on the study of Tibetan language and literature. But then now, as I mentioned before, CIBS has now got the deemed to be university status, which is the UGC has recognized. So now maybe the director may leave, looks like. Now the situations are not very, so there's a bit of a situation at the university. Okay, now we have Genla here. All right, so rest of the conversation, I'll update you in the group, WhatsApp group, right? So let me welcome. Okay, if you all can see, there is Kushala with us.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, we can.
Venerable Khenpo Konchok Thuptanla, who is a reader in Boti language and literature at CIBS, and Dr. Tsering Choldanla, he's a lecturer in political science department at CIBS. Thank you for joining us. Shalata Shidile, Jule. So let me tell all the just tell the participants that Kushala doesn't speak English, so I would be translating for you all, for him, and between whatever if you'd like to say something to him, I'll do that. Okay, so maybe we ask Kushala. Okay, ka choldan le. Kachundanle. Genle sanagale. Jule genle. Acha kale. Acha kale ngira goma mola da genle juanle.
고마게 라스베가 정말 둥지체도 보진 바래.
Ole. Okay, now I request Kushula to say some words. I'll be translating for all of you. Kushula doesn't speak English, right? So, genle jule, genle six kachik molna aje participants, chik ngaje participant South America, Argentina ne nogal Beatrice. Then mangcha gyagar ne noglang ata gyagar pa mangcha university scholars. Then yang professional kachik count already PhD cho tharte. Mangcha also participants mangcha scholars to gele. The ganle jalta kachik molna. Tinenge ganle sung bonge English na gurinle. Tujche. Ganle mute. Ngera mic po mute ka. Unmute sat nale. Ole.
Yung sale.
Oh, yung scanner.
Samala Jule. Tene ujung nang perigne suglak lomir kang tene ngata chalik zate ya kodik zate. Tene ngata dawa sume tene ngata certificate course chik tene ngata dulen tene dring ngata juksa ngema inok tene course ngema thama inok. Tene ngata course pena tene dawa sumbe na ngata nalenda fellowship juste ngata nalende khaspa gune tene nangpe tadup kun kazuk shik tene sachen moyot kanbo teos korla tene ngija dasume basic course tene ngata ma online through tene ngata rule tenok songpasang tene changme sang ngala tene nge e-course tene ngata lobjong salkan tene Dr. Niljang mo nyera ma thukje che ngai ujunang perigna sulak lomnyer khange tene gelop sangme chokne nyera mixal gomanye inazu thukje chisting dan eju chenok inang ye nyampung nyera ma mixal thukje che juin che juna tene dang diri tujab dang stun te nyera kazuk chi sirkajik labzol demojik nganme ngata sirkajik menba tene nangpe chospang dang diri tujab nang stunte tene ngata science nang stunte tene online kazuk chi sirkal demojik ngera mal demojik labduk te nge barbala ma mangpo thong songpasang ngera ma thukje chenang goma tene ngera student sangmang ma I participate choste I certificate course wena ma lobjong gyala thopte do songpasang nge goma ngi ja sangma mane trachi delek nang jule junde.
Okay, so I'll try to translate. I'm not a professional translator though. So the Genle is saying that CIBS has organized this 3-month online course on Nalanda Buddhist philosophy. And he's been watching these classes online, Facebook Live. And he says that these very important teachings of the Nalanda philosophy. Okay, so basically he's giving me some sort of a praise, which is a little uncomfortable to mention. So he says that I have tried to put them into simple words and try to teach them in simple words, which he really appreciates. And he wants to thank all the participants for being a part of this course. Thank you again.
Teninge ma rewachin mo rak teninge ja loptruk ta loptruk juna ngi ja ina scholar rang jus du ma kachik PhD chu zat kan rang jus seduk teni il da sumer rings pena teninge je na ta sange chumdan das diri sang lo nistong abya thale tene sange chumdan das tene khoi tene ta choses ningpo khurang bo ta ngata sange chos bu dus kyong na denba ji tang model kan tene sangye chos man mette no sangye chos pu ningpo sangye chomdan da se gomarang kheten ngata orana si choskor denji choskor bo skora zarara tene denji choskor bena tane nangpe chospo inazu ta ma gyachin mo inokte inang denji chospena ta sangye chomdan de se ta sung ningpo chokbo tene tena duste yotenok sungbasang nija I dasume course pena tene denba ji tang delte tene nang pechos pena kazuk chik tene sangye se sungbo ningpo chiduk zekanwe ma lob jongya la topte do ta sangye chomdan da se tene ngata chospo ta sangye chomdan da se ngata lo nistong apge ngala sung testing ne tene sangye chomdan da se jejuk tene ngata pal nalenda khaspa mamangpo tene gyagare pandit chubdun chok khaspa mangpo skyo da jaska te khaspa me rang tene specialist tene specha so mangpo sama jaska tene gonbolo dup jukan khaspa guni umes kola sama jaska tene lopon thokmed nang igen guni tene ngata tene ngata semcham pelta rup nang delte te chog tene ngata lopon cholang chotak guni tene ngata chatme logic nang delte songbasang tene ngata ote nalindana mane chatmet kane ngata tene khaspa mangpos kyote tene mas pecha mangpos sama jaska daksa ngata gawe kanjur nang stanjur zete ngata jalches ni jote no pecha tene gawe kanjur bo khetena sangye se khura sunga jat kan bo te kanjur nang ne ma tene chose ningpo changma pingin chatma nang delte uma nang delte starup nang delte te sangma tene yang tene khaspa ngata nalende pandit chubdune tene ngata daksa ngata jalgu kan tene puti ngibga choksigyo tenok te ngata stanjur juanok kanjur nang stanjur jute tene te puti ngibgao tangata halese espera te onok daksa jikstene ka ngata tenang pe chos posangma chalen kerna chasang jik tene ngata ngala sanskrit na yutkar daksa ngata te chos beja sangma tene ngata nalende sung sangye sungbu sangma ngata pod neong kaneskat pena top tenok sungbasang ote chogo tene ngata nang pe chos po ma gyachan mo yoteno
Okay, so Genle is saying that he expects that many of you participants have learned about the Buddhist teachings, especially focused on the 3 turnings of the wheel of Dharma, of which the first turning of the wheel of Dharma, which is on the 4 noble truths. Genle is saying that the 4 noble truths, though may look very simple on the surface level, has the essence of all of Buddha's teachings, if you understand these 4 noble truths in depth. So these are very precious teachings given by the Buddha. And after the Buddha came the 17 great Nalanda Panditas who expounded Buddha's teachings, like Arya Nagarjuna, who taught the middle way school. And then came Arya Asanga and Arya Dharmakirti Dignath, who all expounded the Chittamatra philosophy and the logic in Buddhist logic. So these are very precious teachings. And he also mentions the 2 Tibetan canons, the Kangyur and Tengyur. Kangyur being the words of the Buddha, the immediate words of the Buddha, more like the sutras. And the Tengyur is more like the commentaries on Buddha's words, which has about 200 volumes, right? So what Genla said is most of the Tibetan texts, which are not complete in form, which have been destroyed. Now in Tibetan, these teachings have been preserved in full form. All the teachings are very much available in the Tibetan canons. So this is, he encourages us to study further. Genle.
Testing ne tene ngata sangye testing ne ngata nalende khaspa sangmaskos tene ngata sangye se sung nyingpo ka chinok je kanbo masal po sunga jas ta testing ne ngata daksa ngata yot kan ne ngata nangpe chospo kete nang tene ngata daksa jagar ne podla tara potarte ta pode na ngata ma khazrup skizbu tamba hale se skizbu tamba ngata pode na chosgu chin moji zete yote no saskya nigma gelu kagyu zete 때 주주 정말 때는 갔다 카스파군의 숭부다나 정말 때는 갔다 날린데 카스파군의 계속씩 때는 상계세 숭부 못로 줬어요. 또 때는 갔다 마살아자때 낙상 갔다 때는 갔다 직세니까 ngata pode kaspagune sungbu mamangpo jalgiuto no katewe na ngata tujap dakse tam jixting nishkot kane kaspagune specha untana ngata laj do la mucharwa spena ngata kanjurun tsek kaspo no testing ne stanjur tana tesang larik zorik testing ne testanjuri te na kazuchi nalende kaspagune sungs tesang me tonda tene pode kaspa sangme lobjong zate yang tene ngata sangese chosbo masalpo ngoto zatkan tene ngata dakse tula tene nangpe chosbo ketana ma dakpo gap kanbo tene ngata himalaya rigu tene yot kane tene pot nang tene te sungmenas kyo tene khaspa mangbo ji tene ngata gyawsong ka pazara chok marme dak sumdara chok te chok khajup halesis khajup kyo te tene daksa nangpe chosbo ketana tatizu ngata jikstene ka lus tenok songba ngija sangma nangpa indro mendro kazuk shikin 이쪽에 쳐서 럽종 조치스 막 각산 규때노 나타 당디 드랍니 슈삭식 페나 랑라 쳐서 이죽직 맞아 구수 똑보 제며 망세 스타와 충체 송때 때나 충체나 멘바 이쪽에 막 구양보 마는 나타 에 낭페 초식 보면 바 직세네가 짬식 나타 무슬림인도 크리스천인도 짬식 직세네가 스톤바스키 짬식 교간 상명 랍자닝 포츠고 tene ngata jixtene ka misngmena diskit kazu yon semskit po kazu chen semjide kazu chen tizu lapchash kan no songbanye ngisha sangma tene I nangpe chose I nangdelte tene ngisa I course po lente saik sange se chose na kazu chiduk sang nangpe chose po ketena ngata kazu chiduk zerkan skola lobjong zache goska po ngisa sangma magyala tote no samaz
so again let's saying after all of what Buddha taught. So, okay, from the Sanskrit tradition, most of the teachings went to Tibet, and the Tibetan canon, comprising of the Kangyur and Tengyur, based on these two canons, the Tibetan canon, the two Kangyur and Tengyur, many contemporary Tibetan masters or scholars have written many commentaries, which Genla says that it's much easier to understand rather than reading, going through the root teachings. So what he says is most of Buddhist teachings have been really preserved by the Tibetans. If we look at the chronology, the Tibetans, especially in the Himalayan region, there have been many great scholars, saints who have studied the teachings and preserved the teachings. Many commentaries have been written. So what Genla says is, especially these teachings which are very much relevant to the 21st century, and seeing that many of you who are most of you who are not even who are not born Buddhist but really have made an attempt to study Buddha's teachings, he's really happy, and he thinks that most of the teachings of many of the religious teachings in the world, they all focus on how to bring happiness in one's life. So he wants to thank all of you for attempting to learn the teachings of the Buddha, and that's what he wants to thank ultimately. Yeah. And he wants to encourage all of you to study further and delve further into these topics.
송파상 땅에 융지 망픽 미주 때는 상계 좀 단다세 다 초스포 관왕보 셈생 어떻 경경에노 셈에나 가다 셈 속보 용간에 셈보 가오가오에노 테셈 간 파상마 მეტ간 초체스 피아 장페 셈보 가오노 즈칸보 낭페 초스포 케트랑 인체스포 케트랑 셈생 냠렌지 녹만 셈세나 가다 상계 좀 단다세 rangi semne yung sudil dini sange standby in moldo ale sange se standby you kan bong tene piloge tene ngata sku jangche gonpa jangche te tsopo so min kya sange se standby se kan bo ran semena yung se kya songba sang sange chomdan da se ta jiksene ka shkyote chose ningpo koin bat em tsopo migul tsopo ketena mi sangmena tene jizde samskit bo tene ngata chojikten kazuk shina mizang po yarap chozang kazuk sheyon tena nang delte tene nang pe chos po no tene teu tene kyala chos de shechisi pe te sangya satana tene ngata nang pe chosena dupta ma wa jizete chatra ma wa dode pa samsam pa tizu uma pa zete ma gyachin moyote no song pasang ye tene ngija sangma tene yang stigma ne yang scap stop na ngija rang sangme tene ina certificate course po chikpo men ba te sanggen lang ngija course yang tujinga rik jaches te scap lenna tena nang nyampo tene nang pechos nang delte dang dira ma english na ma dep mang po thowen chikna no tene mixa lenga tan daksa gyawarum chi sung sangma tene man korang chiga ha goche da lamo yutken te choge ma suji ki siltana go lamo yutken tene deb man mang po yutte no tene ngia changme o te chok deb kun silte tene jaktang ngata debe deb lemol demorik ngata chalte silindukna tenang ngata chik ma ngata ha gol demo semena mane zukchesan phanpo chan chik ngata gyasa jiwa le shanti dewe den ngata shujuk po ma sigma thonpo metkan golamo ten ngata sil nang semchen nang skit po yongjes te choga ten specha takpo teno nge rewa chun mangpu majua nya sangme ten ina course chik po men ba te sangne langi jaske da kechesipya te chok sangme ga lobjong chochesipya rewa chun tene yang lanchik tene Dr. Ngilzang mo ngira ma special ngai chokm changme chokne ma thukje che tene ma is caps po ma ngira ngela thopte no tene ngira it's course tang spa ngira tene ma ina lobjong tene ma caps samlotang ches caps chi sang ma ngira ngela so skyote no ngira ma mixal thukje che tene ngije khaglen kan participate changma tene nge yang lanchik thukje che julejun.
Okay, so Ganl is saying that the real essence of Buddha's teaching is mind training. So all of Buddha's teachings were taught so that we can distinguish between a deceptive mind and a correct, valid mind, what we studied in Buddhist psychology, right? So this is the real essence of all of Buddha's teachings. So so he says that there are many books, especially the books written by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, available in very simple English, accessible to all of us. He encourages us to read them from time to time. And then if possible, he says that the university will try to provide more courses, more elaborate courses on such subjects. And otherwise, he says that in future, if right now not very sure, but if possible, they will consider providing such courses. But in the meantime, going through the books of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and especially he mentions, if you remember, I shared about Bodhisattva Shantideva, Acharya Bodhisattva Shantideva. His text, Bodhisattva's Way of Life. In Tibetan, it's Chodjuk. It's called Chodjuk. And in Sanskrit, it's Bodhicharya Avatara. So this text is a very relevant text, very simple. And he says that if you read it, you will really feel, you will understand the text because it's written in a very simple, mundane language. So he encourages all of us to read these texts and keep on delving further into such studies, right? And he wants to thank each one of you for participating in this course. And he wants to thank me as well. And he says that me as a teacher, he thinks that even I would have learned a lot from the students, which is very true. And thank you, Genla. Thank you so much. And okay, so I'll just express what you all were talking about earlier to Genla and our examination in charge, Dr. Choldanla, in Ladakhi. So excuse me for a while. Genle nakale you teoju chenya le koni daksa jungje zuta chek discussion with songspa Tena khoni te CIBS email khung ban chi email kalpin jete dugele ta request la ki to course tarung ta continue ya mane young course provide chung yan na jete CIBS to khoni request in jurale acha again let's go to me acha so okay so I think Ganle got disconnected. All right, so I'll hand over to Dr. Choldanla, Tsering Choldanla, for the vote of thanks.
Oh, yeah. Good evening, all of you. First of all, today is the last day of 3-month Nalanda Buddhist philosophy course. So unfortunately, we don't have our most venerable Geshe-la, our most director of the CIB.
Oh, sorry. I think he got disconnected. All right. Okay, so I request you all to.
Oh.
Okay, I think he's connected again.
Sorry for technical problem. There's a net issues here. Are you listening?
Yes, yes, we're all with you.
Isale?
Yes, Kale.
Okay. So, our director Geshe-la is not feeling well also, so he's not available for today's concluding day. So, previously, Kampo Konchok Thoktan is one of our most senior teachers at CIBS. He has very deep knowledge in Buddhist philosophy. So I, on behalf of examination department, for
Oh, I'm sorry. His network is really poor.
Oh.
Please bear with us. Sorry.
First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to the one and only who is taking all the responsibility to run these courses, Dr. Nilza Wangmo. It's because of her dedications, her actively responsibility and her dedication make this course possible. So I would like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Nilza Ammo.
Thank you.
And also our most venerable.
Okay, so again got disconnected. I'm sorry, everyone. Thank you for your patience.
It's because of his care and his initiative, this course initiations has been successfully now today completed. And we have this year, because of global pandemic, we have run few courses like 3-month Buddhist philosophy course, and one course is Buddhist Boti language courses for 3 months, and this is and all this the success of all the course could and this success of this course and the dedications of our directors and the course runner, they make their efforts, and I would like to thanks our teachers.
The network is really bad that side. Really sorry.
Hello, Chudanli.
Hello, Kale. Hello, everyone. Really sorry because it seems the network is extremely bad at his side.
Yes, I'm very thankful to Kempo Konchok Thupsen now for sparing his valuable time for today's concluding day. He is one of our senior most teacher at CIBS, and we are also thankful to Dr. Sonam Wangchuk, PRO at CIBS, and we are also extend our gratitude to Ms. Kunzang. He's a technician at CIBS. So most importantly, we are thankful to all the participants. So one thing I have learned today is that we have a very secular class at this course, because I can see we have all the participants from different belongs to different religions. So Buddhism is not only for Buddhist. Buddha himself said Buddhism is for whole humanity. It's for the humanity of the whole world. If you like the Buddhist philosophy, any humanity, any person can follow his teaching. It's not important to follow, only Buddhists can follow the Buddhist way of life.
So
So
we are glad to know,
we are glad
to
to
see
see
the different
the different
religion
religion
and different
and different
participants
from
from
different
different
regions
regions
to
have
taking the
taken
benefit of this 3-month courses.
So our next, as Dr. Mirza has already said, we have not yet decided whether we will continue this course
In futures, but looking at the feedback of the students and the participants, we would seriously think about this. So we would in futures, we will again, we are looking forward to run these courses like this course and other more courses in futures for the benefits of all the interested participants.
So I'm very thankful to all the participants who have very much dedications and who have actively participated and taken the benefits of this course. And we have a self-assessment test, as we have already discussed with Dr. Mirza. So she will tell you the grades and the questionnaires to you very soon. So next, then we will issue certificate to all the participants when our director will come back to CIBS. So I'm very thankful to all the participants and Dr. Mirza to make this courses successful, and we will soon let you know the next courses, and we will also upload the information in our website, which all of you are familiar with our website. Thank you. Because of technical issues, it's not possible to speak very clearly. So please forgive me for these issues, technical issues. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, Ka Choldanle. Okay, so in the end, I would like to give my vote of thanks. So our director, Geshikonjo Andula, is not here with us. He's not keeping well. Let us all pray for his quick recovery. I would like to thank him for giving, and CIBS community for giving me this wonderful opportunity where I could share what I've learned. And also in the process, I learned so much. And thank you to all the participants for so diligently attending all these classes. I could really feel the genuine interest in all of you, and I really appreciate that. And most of you have expressed your need or desire to study more. And if at the moment, as I mentioned, CIBS may not be able to make decisions in the near future very soon, but yes, we will bring this your suggestions to the director and other members, and if possible, we'll let you all know. But in the meantime, for those of you who have come very regularly for these online classes, what me and Dr. Chodhanla, who's the examination in charge, we decided is, I think by 10th of January, we'll prepare 100 100 question examination portal. We'll put it up on the website, right? So I'll send an email to all of you once we put up the questions online. And then what you all can do is you can log in and attempt all those 100 questions. So these questions will not be marked. So this is more like a self-assessment examination. You can see how much you have learned from this 3-month course. So we'll do that. And we are expecting to do that by 10th of January. All right. So we'll keep you updated on that. And other than that, I would like to thank Venerable Konchok Turtanla for joining us, Kenbola for joining us in today's session, and also our examination in charge, Dr. Jordanla. Despite all this challenging network issues, he managed to give his vote of thanks. So thank you all the participants. Thank you so much for being with me for the last 3 months. And we'll keep in touch through the WhatsApp group, and we'll keep each other posted. Right? Okay.
Thank you. Do you too.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so
Thank
much,
you.
ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
Thank you, really, really. It was
Thank you so
wonderful.
much,
It was,
ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. And we want you to request that you continue us
Yes.
teaching us. These are formally requests from a group of us. So
Okay. So
as soon as you can, yeah.
so I
As
can
soon as
do.
you can.
Okay, so the university right now will not be able to provide another course anytime soon. In the meantime, we can form a group. We can
Yeah.
keep in touch in the WhatsApp group, and then we can have classes, informal classes. Right?
Yeah, as soon as you feel you are ready, you can give us
I'm ready.
teachings.
I am ready. I have already mentioned I'm ready.
Okay.
But
We
we can.
are ready too.
We are ready to.
Yeah. So we can decide on the topic and the time.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Yeah, thank you
everyone.
very
It was
much.
really nice.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
And thank you all of you for the patience on my language and for participate together.
Okay.
Ma'am, I would like to say that I really felt like a family with all the participants by you. And because we have learned so much from you, I will not feel the attachment or the detachment, but definitely the joy of learning will always be with us.
Yes.
I'm
Thank you
sure
so much.
most of us share the same feeling.
Yes.
So true. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
So
you to
true.
all the
We are family.
participants.
Yes.
You have been really lovely, and you've been really patient with me. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Tugce
Thank you.
Kushala tugce, genla tugce.
Thank you very much. We keep in touch then.
Yes, we keep in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thank you all.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.
Best of 2021.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Ya Jule.
Jule genle tugce.
Tugce genle.
Ya
Tugce
Jule, sama Jule. Ya Jule.
Rasidele.
Rashidule.
Okay, so I'll end the session then. See you all next time. Bye bye.
See you soon. Bye bye. Thank you again.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.